Just who likes chocolate cake on Monday Night Raw? I'll tell you as WGS-TV reviews Monday Night Raw for the week of January 15th, 2018. Hey YouTube, are you ready for your hot tag? Because if you are, it's definitely time to work.
Hi, this is the incomparable Lance Moss from YouTube.com/LanceMossTV, and you're watching The Wrestle Gamer on WGS-TV.
Guys, I'm the Wrestle Gamer. Welcome back to another episode of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer. If there's one thing I can't stand about WWE around this time of the year is how they release the info of who's going to be into the Hall of Fame before Raw starts. I remember waiting until they announced it during the actual shows, and it meant something more at that time. This idea of having to release the name the day of instead of waiting to release it at the actual show was a bad one. I kind of wish WWE would nix that. But anywho, we learned that the first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame this year is Goldberg, so my congratulations to him. Now, with that being said, let's talk about Raw. Since Raw's opening vignette was of what happened last week with Braun Strowman, Kane, and Brock Lesnar, it kind of made sense to bring out the monster among men to kind of address what happened last week in the form of a story. But before said story could be told, out would come Kurt Angle with security to address Strowman's actions. Angle reprimanded Strowman for his actions, saying he created an unsafe work environment and that Angle was not only responsible for the superstars in the ring, but the backstage employees as well. Angle would update everyone that Lesnar and Kane would be okay and be able to compete at the Royal Rumble, but it would no longer be a triple threat match, as Angle then fired Strowman in the middle of the ring. Personal opinion, as popular as Strowman is right now, I don't see him leaving Raw anytime soon. Backstage, the security guys were attempting to escort Strowman out of the arena, but would end up getting tossed around like ragdolls. 3 out of 5. Opening match this week would be a rematch from last week, with the Bar taking on Apollo Crews and Titus ONeil of Titus Worldwide. This was basically a garden variety tag team match, but good, just like last week. What I still didn't get was the fact that Jason Jordan caused a distraction which allowed Apollo to roll up Sheamus for the win. Personal opinion, I said this last week and I'll say it again this week. We don't need another Braun Championship being defended in a triple threat style match. I'll also reiterate this. I don't hate Apollo and Titus. Far from it. For what they do with the Titus Worldwide gimmick, it's entertaining for what it is. Rollins would appear on stage next to Jordan with a look of disappointment. I fear the Raw Tag Team Championship will now turn into a triple threat match at the Rumble. 2.95 out of 5. Backstage, Braun Strowman had already tossed Kurt Angle's office and made his way into catering, flipping over several tables, choke-slamming Kurt Hawkins to a table, then taking a big slice of chocolate cake. I guess he's a big fan of chocolate cake. Me, Strowman. Me like cake. Chocolate. Yum. Before the next match started, Strowman pushed a dumpster at a referee and stormed off to cause more damage. Up next was Cedric Alexander taking on Tony Nese, aka Tony Abs, of the Zone Train. I'm still kind of scratching my head over how Goldust is being used, but he did cut a better promo than Cedric, and I did find some of his antics outside of the ring mildly amusing, such as mocking Enzo's dance and scaring him. As far as overall match content, it was quite decent, with the finish of the match being Cedric hitting the lumbar check on Nese to pick up the win. Personal opinion? Working under the assumption that Alexander and Enzo are having a rematch at the Rumble over the Cruiserweight Championship, I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm basing that assumption on the promo Enzo cut about walking out of the Rumble as the champion, and Cedric's promo stated that he would be walking out as the champion. 2.95 out of 5. Backstage, Kurt Angle was surveying the damage to his office when he would get word from a referee that Strowman was making his way towards the production trucks, which sent Angle running off. Strowman, inside the production trucks, threw his weight around pretty much like a bully would. So much for WWE's Be a Star program. Upon leaving the truck, Strowman engaged the truck and flipped the semi on its side, much to the shock of everyone there. Strowman would then storm his way to the staging area, gave Michael Cole a permanent wedgie, ouch, And before tossing him off the stage, Kurt Angle would announce that Stephanie McMahon called him and informed him that Strowman was rehired and back in the championship match at the Rumble. Strowman then tossed Cole off the stage onto the security guys who cushioned his fall. Personal opinion? Thank you, Strowman. 3.25 out of 5. Up next, one of my favorite reasons to watch Raw every week, the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka, took on Nia Jax. When they announced this match last week, I said, don't look for this match to be anything like their match for the NXT Women's Championship, but I have to say it was getting there with the spots they were doing. Asuka mainly stuck to striking and submissions, while Nia used her power game in the match. Everything would turn around when Asuka kicked Nia in the calf while she was on the stairs, causing her to fall butt first onto the steps when Shatter caught in between the ring and the steps. Although she made it back into the ring, the referee stopped the match, deeming Nia unable to continue and awarding the match to Asuka. Personal opinion, was that not really Nia's best sell job on a knee injury? Really? Could have been better. Still enjoyed watching Asuka though. 3 out of 5. Backstage, Kurt Angle was still in the wake of Strowman's destruction to his office when Jason Jordan showed up to thank his dad for the opportunity to be one of the Raw Tag Team Champions and made mention of the fact that his partner, Seth Rollins, needed a one-on-one match to clear his mind over the loss last week to the Balor Club, so he requested and was granted a match with Finn Balor. In the locker room, Nia was icing down her knee when Alexa Bliss showing a lot of concern for her friend when Enzo showed up, much to the dismay of Alexa, who told him that he wasn't needed, but was told by Nia and Enzo that she could go. Up next, the Revival destroyed a jobber tag team with the Shatter Machine and then had some words in regard to the old school names being thrown their way, like the New Age Outlaws and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and said that there was nothing old school about them. They would also commit the ultimate Vince McMahon taboo, saying that they were not sports entertainers but professional wrestlers, and that they were the team to lead WWE for the next 25 years. Personal opinion? I look forward to what they do with the Revival next week at the Raw 25th Anniversary show. I get the feeling something will happen with them just based on that promo right there. 3 out of 5. Up next, Elias would sing his promo of sorts, talking about the Royal Rumble and probably something horrible about the sports team or something. I tend to tune Elias out when he's on TV, but apparently he was paid to intro Miz and the Miztourage. Why? I don't know either. The Miz would then proceed to cut a promo about how it felt awesome to hear the welcome back chants from the crowd last week, get his championship rematch for next week, and how the Miz and the Miztourage took out Reigns last week. He promised that next week he was going to over-deliver once again and reclaim the Intercontinental Championship. I wonder how many times Miz is going to plug his unscripted show on the USA Network during his promo. You've got to admit, it's a good way to plug it to a live audience. Anyway, it was a 1-on-2 handicap match as it was the Miztourage taking on Roman Reigns. Miztourage had the advantage for a short period of time in the match, that is, until Reigns Superman punched Axel, and then went to the outside to Superman punch Bo and chase Miz. And after escaping from him and his sports coat, Reigns would hit the spear on Axel to pick up the win. Personal opinion, Miz is probably one of the best talkers on Raw today, so I, for one, am actually glad to have him back after his 6-week absence to film the next Ring movie. Now, whether or not they put the Intercontinental Championship back on him next week remains to be seen. 3.15 out of 5. Up next, it was Sonya Deville taking on Sasha Banks. Since there isn't much to talk about in this match, I'll get right to the finish, as it was Deville hitting a kick to the midsection of Banks as she was coming off the second rope to pick up the win. Personal opinion, if any segment screamed time filler last night, it was this one for sure. I'm not sure if that had anything to do with what happened with Banks and Paige at the live event that pretty much ended Paige's in-ring career, or not. 2.5 out of 5. Backstage, Seth Rollins was getting ready for his match when Jason Jordan came in and got told by Rollins that they are a team and he doesn't need a spokesperson. He also stated that he didn't have a problem with what he did, just the way he did it. Up next, it was Woken Matt Hardy taking on Heath Slater. He's got kids. Again, they're continuing the angle of Rhino trying to toughen up his partner. And when Slater was out of the ring the first time, Rhino was able to motivate his partner to get back into the ring to finish the match. Hardy used his weird laugh to basically weird out Slater in the corner, which I found mildly amusing. The finish of the match was Hardy hitting the Twist of Fate on Slater to pick up the win. Personal opinion, no appearance from Bray Wyatt. No advancement of the storyline. Why? 3 out of 5. Finally, it was time for the main event. Finn Balor taking on Seth Rollins. Take note that Balor got a TV entrance, and Rollins did not. I personally believe that this main event was used to build up the Tag Team Championship at the Rumble even further and possibly introduce the Balor Club into the angle, which would take the current angle from a possible triple threat angle into a fatal 4-way. As far as the overall match, it was excellent. Take note, Nia Jax, on how to properly sell a knee injury from Rollins. The climax of the match was something, because that's when the Bar came out in an attempt to get revenge on Jordan for what happened earlier in the night, but would get into a physical confrontation with the club at ringside. The finish of the actual match was Rollins hitting the curb stomp on Balor to pick up the win. After the match, the camera stayed on Balor to show him having a mark on his face when he was a bit woozy. Personal opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was under the assumption that the curb stomp was banned from Balor's moveset. Excuse me, from Rollins' moveset. I have a Balor in my notes. I should have been Rollins. I do apologize. But also, what is with the commentary team being so blasé in their reactions to it? When I do commentary, or I hear Mauro Ranallo do commentary, one thing we want to do, and I just want to say, I'm speaking from my personal experience doing commentary for 8 years here in Louisiana. I want the fans to feel the excitement and the energy of the moment, because it was a high energy moment in the main event, but their reactions were like, they didn't care. That's what I don't like about the main roster commentary. They're basically robots with no emotion. If I was on the announce team, I would be popping to make the fans feel the excitement and the energy, but yet WWE gave us that last night. I'm also almost insulted to be a commentator after hearing that last night. 3 out of 5. Overall score overall this week gets a 3.25 out of 5, with best match of the night going to the main event, with worst segment of the night going to 2 things. 1, Nia Jax's piss poor sell job of her knee injury, and 2, the announce team not popping during the climax of the main event. Well, guys and gals, that's been my overall score and thoughts on Monday Night Raw. What I want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Raw this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of Monday Night Raw this week? I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, be sure you slam that like button like a champ. And if you guys want to see more wrestling talk with awesome gameplays, you know what the 2 ways you got to do it. You got to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon to turn on notifications so that way you guys will never miss out on another video right here on my channel. So with that being said, I'm your friendly neighborhood wrestling gamer, reminding all of you guys out there to stay awesome. Bye guys.